We have Lisa with us from IBM, and she's going to share digital twin innovation in the mining industry.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I'm going to jump right in. We got a little disclaimer from IBM about all the fun stuff I'm about to share with you guys. But a little bit about me before I jump in. I'm a director and a distinguished engineer within IBM. I get to do all the really fun things like bringing new solutions to market. And I'm also an inventor. So I've got over 500 patents that have been granted so far. And right before this presentation, David Dixon reached out to me, who's our industry mining lead. And he said, you know, there's some stuff going on with open pit mining and optimization and design where there was a patent that some IBMers filed back in 1960. So I thought that was really cool. And basically we're refreshing that with our IBM quantum team, right? So the quantum team is working with Stanford and a mine to figure out how to optimize those open pit mines. So really cool history with IBM and innovation in mining. So as we jump in here, you know, why digital twin? Why now? It's not a new thing. It's been around forever. As Penny said, right? She showed the definition of digital twin. Depending on who you talk to, they're going to have a very different definition. For us at IBM, we're known for our AI, machine learning, everything we're doing in that space around data. And right now is a perfect time for digital twin because that digital twin that's available really comes to life with all the data that might be out there. So those assets that are related to mining are now connected, right? That the way that we operate our pits and our mines are changing. It's being disrupted. And now we've got this view, not just of the physical asset, but all the digital data that's associated with it. So a lot of our clients that we talk to, they all have this futuristic vision, right? They want to have high operational availability. They want AI. They want to do predictive maintenance. They want condition-based maintenance, right? They want connected equipment, but the reality is we're not there yet, right? A lot of little simple things like a bill of material don't even exist yet. We have equipment that's just not tagged. So we've got these technicians that go out to service equipment and they can't get at that physical information around the digital world. So a lot of our sites, they lack the infrastructure. They might not be connected. We have to play around in the edge case, right? And install basic sensors on the equipment. But we're getting there and we've got to start somewhere. Ultimately, we want to get to this mine of the future, right? Where we've got our existing embedded systems as well as the sensors that are all coming together to allow us to do real-time remote monitoring. And then combine that with predictive failure models like what Penny was mentioning. All of this is ultimately creating what is that digital twin and what will help us reduce our operational costs and increase our uptime. So what's our definition of digital twin? Right, we go with the broad view of a digital representation of a physical thing. But as I mentioned before, it's the IoT, the sensors, that real-time information that really helps the digital twin come alive. So now it's the evolution of that digital thing. I love this view of what a digital twin is because sometimes when you talk to people about digital twins, they have different definitions. They say it's, you know, over here, it's over there, it's simulation, it's what if analysis. All of that stuff is really just a view into a digital twin, right? So you can see we have the operational twin, an operator twin, the engineering twin if you're on the more of the design side of what these physical assets are going to operate like. You might even have a twin around insurance, right? If you've worried about regulatory compliance. The autonomous twin, right? If these equipments are smart enough to operate on their own. So all of these we view as just a different view into the digital twin, depending on what business value you want to unlock. But ultimately, there's just one digital twin. And we even like to go as far as to say that you can't have AI for asset-intense industries without having a digital twin. Because that digital twin is the data. It's all of that system of truth, the record, that ultimately makes up the training that you then pull into AI and machine learning. And then there's all this other data as well, not just the actual physical asset, but everything around it, right? If you're really looking from pit to port within your mining environment, there's so many other things that are going on. Within IBM, you probably heard that we acquired the weather company a while ago, and we're now able to capture weather data as well. right? So imagine knowing when lightning is going to be in proximity and sending alerts out to the crew to keep them safe, understanding when heavy rain might be coming or predicted, and worrying about mud or slippery situations for your equipment. And then of course, wind matters, especially with rain and humidity. It changes the noise and the dust levels within the mining environment, right? And ultimately you might have a risk of violating regulatory standards by knowing, not knowing what's going to happen with the weather around you. And then of course, weather affects emissions, which is the health of your crew, the health of the people that are living nearby. So what are we doing with all this information and all this data? As John mentioned, his advice on getting started with digital twins, you got to start somewhere. And so for us, we took a step backwards and we thought, all right, how do we level the playing field and get everyone able to start playing with digital twins? So we created this marketplace, and I'll show you a demo of it in a second. It's called the IBM Digital Twin Exchange. So you can type it into your browsers. I'll send you guys a link as well. But really, it provides a one-stop shop for manufacturers, OEMs, third-party content providers to come and list for sale their digital twins, digital data. And then consumers can come in, access it, download it. It basically provides that repeatability and reliability that you'd want to come to expect within the mining industry. And of course, we have our Maximo side of the house, which is going to be enterprise asset management. And we do have a one-click download over into Maximo. So again, we're going with a broad definition of what is a digital twin. So there's all sorts of content that we're accepting within this marketplace. Everything from those bill of materials, the parts list, the failure codes, all the way up to more complicated operating models or stocking strategies, those prediction models, and even AI, right? So trying to take this information to build out AI and machine learning models. So when we look at the digital twin landscape, the digital twin exchange and what we're doing is just the start. There's so much data and parties that are involved that we've got to capture data to really build out that complete view of the mine in this case, right? And that operating digital twin. So everything from the assets themselves, the actual mine, the pit, everything from how equipment is exchanged and changes ownership, as maintenance is performed, as technicians come out to change warranty claims and understand the conditions of the actual assets. All of these different things, all the moving pieces can come together to create that view of a digital twin. And then our exchange, the way it works is content providers take a 70-30 split. So you can potentially have earning potentials to contribute what you think might be valuable back to the different industry use cases. So let's see it in action. Let me see if I can switch my screen and show you guys the exchange. Let's do a new share here. All right, you should see the exchange now. Let me know if you can't. But here it is, landing page. It's ability to search for digital twins. In this case, we've got a number of content providers in the mining space. My favorite example here is Big Iron. So let's drill into one of their pieces of content. So you can see they've got an example here of a Caterpillar grader, and they've got a bomb pack, right? So they ask you to enter your serial number or whatever that physical asset is that you own. And then what they're doing behind the scenes is capturing all of the bill of materials for each of the different parts, that subassembly of that asset. So then you get one single bill of material that you can then import and again have that repeatability, reliability, fast integration with whatever your EAM system is. So you can kind of see here, it might be small to read, but what are the benefits of this? Like, why would you go and buy a bomb pack versus just going and getting a bomb for each of the different pieces of the subassembly? For them, they do this as a living, right? So they're improving job planning efficiency and they're reducing job execution time. They're basically eliminating some of the human error for going and maybe manually typing in information from a bill of material into your ERP or ERM systems. And then for these guys, they've got access to a bunch of clients within our Maximo system who might be interested in coming in and downloading these, in this case, bill of material packs. Pretty cool stuff. So anyone can access it. You guys can all check it out in your browser today, right? You find something that you want and add it to your cart and go through it just like any other system that's out there. So here's an example of the different bill of materials lists that they've got here. So you can see in this case, there's 28 different sub-assemblies that come as part of this BOM pack. As a content provider too, we're pretty hands-off. So you have access to include any sort of information you want, complete control over your store, adding products, as well as setting the price. All that's up on you. And then you can add all sorts of good stuff, right? Penny's forecasting models. You could throw them up here if she wanted. And here's the view. So let me switch back over to my presentation. All right, so where does this fit into digital twin? Because sometimes when I show the digital twin exchange, the next question is, well, what about the what if analysis, the simulation, the predictive side that comes next, the AI side, and we've got that within our set of products here. So digital twin, as you can see, is underpinning everything. It's that source of data, but you're still going to manage your assets in something like a Maximo or EAM system. And you can start monitoring it. So all of those equipments that are connected and have sensors associated with them, you can start pulling it into existing systems. In our system within Maximo, we have a monitor where it connect all those sensors into one spot. Then we can do some really cool things like visual inspection, right? So taking pictures of what is good versus what is bad and using machine learning to very quickly decide if there's a problem or an anomaly within your environment. And then as you have those technicians that are out inspecting the asset, they might come up to it with their mobile device and scan a code associated with the asset and be able to pick up information from the digital twin itself, right? Like bring up those fault codes and really start to be fast at performing the work orders they're there to do. And then health, right? Managing the health of the asset, understanding when you need to go do those condition-based maintenance and plans associated with assets. And then prediction, right? The last part is predicting when the assets are going to fail or when you might need to come in and do some sort of maintenance on the asset itself. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Lots of fun stuff and innovation in mining, and I'm open to any questions you guys might have about anything I shared.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lisa. That was great. We do have questions. I am just digging them out here. So we have a few in the chat line already, and if people have more, they can add them. First, someone asked, Zoli asked, who updates the BOM packs?
So that's all the content provider. So they're in complete control. We're not the middleman. We just provide the website, the Digital Twin Exchange website. We do monitor, and we do have the ability to raise concerns if you think the content there is having some sort of IP infringement, any kind of those issues, we do step in and help. But as far as the BOM pack itself, that's going to be the content provider.
Perfect. And then I guess related to that question, Elliot asks, on the digital exchange, how do you manage the rights to the BOM? For example, an operator may purchase the BOM, but then they want to get a third party to do some simulation with the BOM. I think he just wants to make me say the BOM. How does the third party get access to data, and how do you ensure that the data is fit for purpose?
Yeah, so every single content provider manages their own end user license agreement, so how they want to handle the actual usage of the data that's on the exchange itself, right? So there's no digital rights management today. That is something we're looking to on our roadmap, but it is intended to be a one-time download. So you're pulling it in to help people get up and started faster through a system like our Maximo Enterprise Asset Management solution.
Great. We have another question. Do we have a client reference that is using Digital Twin Exchange?
Yeah, so you guys can go to it. Go to digitaltwinexchange.ibm.com. You can see all of the content that's out there and see how you can pull it all over down into your own EAM system.
Great. I think that's all I have on the line. Is there any other questions for Lisa? Oh, another one just came in. Is Digital Twin Exchange available in other languages like Portuguese or Spanish?
Right now, it is only English, and the purchases are only in the United States, but content providers can be all over the world, and we're rolling out globally through next year.
Okay. You're getting a lot of thank yous, by the way. Any other questions? Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, Lisa. I believe we will have all the presentations available. Oh, we got one more question. Is there a standard connector with Maximo?
Yeah, so let's use the bill of materials example, right? So in order for it to be a one-click download into Maximo, it does have to have a certain file type. So in our case, it's in a JSON file type. So we've been working with our content providers that do have bill of materials in this case to make sure that it aligns with our format for JSON so that we can pull it in right away into Maximo.
And a connector with SAP?
I am open to anyone starting to pull it. I mean, it's a downloadable file. So as you could see from my Big Iron example, they provided their BOM in multiple formats, right? I think they had a CSV, they had an Excel format, and then of course they'll have the JSON format. So between the three of them, it should work in a lot of different ultimate positions where you're going to pull that bill of material, right? Like SAP, but you can always ask the content provider if you're not sure.
Perfect. And can you describe what the refresh of the LG patent is about?
Yeah, the patent on the open pit mine design from 1960, so cool. So I don't think they're refreshing the actual patent, and that's long expired since it was in 1960, but it's more of a partnership between our IBM Quantum team in Stanford, as well as some miners, to try to figure out what the optimum design is. So if you want to know more information on that, send me a note, reach out. I think I had my contact information here, and I'm happy to connect you with some IBMers.
Perfect.